We hear these words so often: "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." They echo in hospital rooms and funeral chapels, whispered when life feels heavy. But few realize these words weren't written from comfort. They were written from the wilderness, from a young man named David, hunted, tired, and alone. Psalm 23 is not a lullaby from a king on his throne. It's a prayer from a fugitive hiding among the rocks, clinging to a faith he could barely see. Before David ever wore a crown, he carried a shepherd's staff. In Israel, shepherding was hard, dirty work. No glory, only grit. A shepherd fought off lions and bears, searched day and night for pasture, and slept beneath the same stars that guided his flock. When David called God his shepherd, he wasn't reaching for a poetic image. He was remembering a life he knew by heart: the sound of predators in the dark, the steady weight of the staff in his hand, the trust of sheep that followed only his voice. And in the silence of the desert, that's how he learned who God truly was. Not distant, but present. Not watching from the heavens, but walking beside him in the dust. He makes me lie down in green pastures. When we picture that, we imagine rolling meadows and endless fields. But in the Judean wilderness, green pastures meant something else entirely. Between the rocks and the dust, shepherds searched for tiny strips of grass, fed by morning dew, enough for one meal, never for many. The sheep learned to trust that their shepherd would find the next patch tomorrow. So when David says, "He makes me lie down in green pastures," he's not describing abundance, he's describing enough. God's daily provision, sufficient for this day and faith for the next. He leads me beside still waters, he restores my soul. In those barren lands, rushing rivers were rare and dangerous. Sheep were easily swept away. But still waters, calm and quiet, meant safety and refreshment. David had known thirst in the desert. He had known fear. And in that stillness, he discovered something: that God's restoration doesn't rush. It waits, it soothes, it brings a weary soul back to peace. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Shepherds carved trails into the hills, ancient trusted paths where footing was sure. To stray from them meant danger. David knew what it was to wander and what it meant for God to bring him back. These paths of righteousness weren't rules. They were a way of life guided by the shepherd's voice, steady, faithful, purposeful. God leads not only for our safety, but for his reputation as the one who never abandons his own. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. The Hebrew word salmaveth means deep darkness. These were real valleys, steep ravines where sunlight vanished, and predators waited in silence. To lead a flock through them was an act of courage. David had walked such valleys both in the wild and in his heart. He had seen betrayal, loss, and death close behind him. Yet here he writes not from fear, but from faith. You are with me. The shepherd's presence became his protection. It didn't remove the danger, but it made him unafraid to keep walking. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. The rod and staff weren't symbols of comfort. They were tools of survival. One defended, the other guided. David carried both when he faced wild beasts. Now he says, God carries them for him. In every strike against danger, in every gentle nudge back onto the path, David saw the shepherd's love at work. Firm, but never cruel. Discipline and defense in perfect balance. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. The table was a high grazing place, often near enemy territory. Shepherds would inspect the ground for snakes, and thorns pour oil on a sheep's head to heal wounds and repel insects. Small acts of protection that spoke of deep care. Even in the midst of danger, God spreads a feast of his goodness. The enemies are still there, but so is the presence of the shepherd, reminding us that peace is not the absence of threat, it's the presence of God. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In Hebrew, follow can also mean pursue. David isn't saying that he'll chase after God's goodness. He's saying that God's goodness will chase after him through failure, fear, and faith restored. The hunted man becomes the one pursued, not by enemies, but by grace. Psalm 23 was never meant to be a sentimental poem. It's the testimony of a man who found peace not in a palace, but in a cave. A man who learned that God's faithfulness isn't proven by comfort, but by companionship in the valley. The shepherd still leads. The pastures may be sparse, but his care never runs dry. And when the shadows come, his voice still whispers through the dark. Fear not, I am with you. Bright Path Studio, positive wisdom for life's journey.